The first one we're going to look at is how to use RoomKeyPMS without internet. Now, RoomKey does require an internet connection in order to operate its standard functions inside the software. So when you log into RoomKey, at that instant, you do require an internet access. But if the internet goes down at your property temporarily, or if you don't have access to the internet, we can still manage these standard functions, things like checking in and out guests, managing housekeeping room statuses, and checking your inventory. Now, the workaround method that we recommend in order to achieve these outcomes is using the Smart Files backup reports. You can view your arrivals, departures, in-house guests, as well as future reservations made and any inventory for the next 2 weeks. And most importantly, you can also view your housekeeping room statuses from those reports. Now, the outcome of this, of course, is that you are able to manage guest arrivals and departures and update housekeeping room statuses manually until you are able to access the internet again. So this is a temporary or workaround method that we recommend in an emergency situation where you lose access to the internet at the front desk there, for example. Now, one of the risks here that we can identify is that once the internet is restored, you may forget to update certain information. So it can be helpful to have those reports printed in order to record any changes manually on a printed document. And that way you can cross-reference anything that is recorded manually on that printed document with what has been updated, what you are able to update inside RoomKey once you have access to the database. So let's dig into this workaround method in a little more detail. So the first thing that I wanted to identify is in order to use this workaround method, you need to be able to find your smart file backup files. Those lists of reports are available to access directly from your login page. So when you open up RoomKey, you're often asked for your login name and password. If you do not have access to the internet, you will still have access to this Smart File Backup button. When you click on the Smart File Backup button, a pop-up will appear. It shows you the file location where those backups are stored, and it will show you all the different reports. So you've got arrivals, departures, in-house, etc. And then it will also let you know the last time that those files were backed up. So circled here, we have the created on date and time. Now, these files automatically back up as you're using RoomKey during regular front desk operations or regular usage of our software. Backups automatically update every 6 to 12 minutes as you operate RoomKey, and each computer that uses RoomKey will have a copy of the Smart Files backup. Now, if you'd like to print or view these reports, I have some examples here of what those reports look like. Arrivals, departures, and in-house guests here. These are examples from a database, so I've just redacted some of the key pieces of information. But here you can see on your reservations report that you would have a list of all of your reservations that are due to arrive on today's date. And it will also note if there is a room number. If there are no room numbers assigned, those are pushed up to the top. So you know if there are any reservations that are yet to be assigned a room number for those arrival guests today. It will also list the type of room that the guest is due to arrive into, the guest name, check-in, check-out dates, the reservation ID, as well as the rate and occupancy, the number of adults and children in the room. Likewise, you have the same information available to you for your reservations that are checking out, your departure reservations, as well as your occupied rooms. So any of the guests that have already checked in or are already staying over and are marked as in-house in the database. So as you go through, it is still recommended that you notify guests if they're coming down to check out. They'll be a part of the reservations departing report. You'll want to let them know that there is a technical issue and that you'll have to issue their folio manually. Likewise, if the guests are arriving, you can let them know that there is a technical issue preventing you from actually checking them into the system, into the live system. So you'll be operating using the arrivals list here. You may want to also let them know that there may be a delay in processing a credit card authorization, refund, or payment. You will need to wait until your internet access is restored in order to use the credit card functionality if you have a credit card interface with RoomKey. Now, one of the things that you can do if you want to generate a copy of the guest folio, whether it is a arrival, departure, or in-house guest, you can use this button on the Smart Files backup. It says show as grid, and that will show these reservations in a list or grid format with the option to print a copy of that guest folio. So not only do you have access to reporting as far as arrivals, departures, and reservations, but you also have access to any associated folios or any folios associated with those reservations. One last thing I'd like to point out here is the ability to manage those housekeeping statuses manually. So if you're using the housekeeping report from that list of Smart File Backups report, this will show the housekeeping reporting. It will let you know the room number and type, which has been selectively redacted here. It will let you know the occupancy status of that room. So for example, it'll tell you if the room is occupied or if it is vacant or if it is set as an arrival or due in for that date. You can use this housekeeping report to cross-reference with those other reports like your in-house guest report, your arrivals and departures report as well. Now on this housekeeping report, if the room is occupied, it will let you know the name of the guest, so that allows you to cross-reference with your in-house guest report. And it will let you know if there is a designated checkout time and the number of guests in that room. Now, as the housekeepers are continuing their cleaning and daily cycle, when the housekeepers let you know that a room status has changed, you can record that manually on this report. And then when the internet access is restored, you can log into RoomKey and update the housekeeping statuses from the housekeeping module. Now, this may be something done at the front desk, or it may be done by a housekeeping manager. So those are just a couple of methods that you can use to operate RoomKey manually. In the event that you lose access to the internet temporarily and are then required to update the system manually after internet has been restored.